Today, I have a great guest. I have Ted Rubin here. Ted is a leading social marketing strategist, author, speaker, and I like that also, provocateur. And nonetheless, he's also Photofy's CMO and sits on various advisory boards. He has done very interesting things, and he's coined the term ROR, not ROI, ROR, the return on relationship. Yeah, he's currently heading up marketing for Photofy. Photofy is a distributed content creation platform. We're going to dive into much more depth of what that actually means. So, Ted, welcome to the show.
Lucas, thank you so much for having me here. And I appreciated hearing about PathMonk. It sounds like an interesting product that a lot of companies could benefit from.
Thanks. Awesome. So maybe tell us about Photofy in your own words. What is it all about?
Well, I'm gonna simplify this. Photofy makes it easy for company employees, partners, and very importantly, communities to make original branded content and share it via their own networks. Our platform, or app is closer to the point, is designed for non-creatives. It's easy to use. Canva is a much more difficult platform, which is kind of similar. What we've tried to create is something that people can create easily, beautiful branded content in under 30 seconds. It helps remove friction from making content so that it actually does get done simply, quickly, and easily. At Photofy, what we try to do is offer an easy to use employee and community content creation tool. Like I said, that's designed for non-creatives. It enables them to quickly create beautiful branded content in their own voice. And what we've all learned over the years, or at least I have, and a lot of people I know, is that content that comes from the voice of people that actually use the product, that create the product, that sell the product, is much more penetrating to a potential customer than content that's created by an internal creative team or an agency. So your employees simply standing in line getting coffee have enough time to create a couple of great posts for social media and digital use. And the community management portal, which we've been working hard on and developing to a much greater extent over the last few years, enables marketers to provide branded templates, overlays, photos, and other creative assets, along with training, which is really important, and guidelines with real-time visibility to who is sharing what in your organization and what's working best. At Photofy, something that we've really wrapped our arms around is that we believe that employee-created content and community-created content has tremendous potential to fill some of the gaps in what we call the current digital marketing stack. First, employee and community-created content leverages the personal influence of the content creators, thereby going well beyond the base of reach that you have just in your company-related platforms and delivering substantially higher engagement rates than corporate branded content. So for larger organizations such as franchises and retailers, and especially direct sellers and real estate firms, community-created content and employee-created content, it helps to localize and personalize the content in a way that isn't possible with your standard geo-targeted advertising that is banging people over the head every single day. And then finally, just to finish up, because I know I've been rambling on for a while here, you got me started. Since employee and community created content uses common brand assets, it's all customized and shared by different users. Its impact on search-based algorithms is profound. So deployed at scale, we feel that crowd marketing can significantly augment corporate digital media efforts, and it allows all organizations of all sizes to empower its employees to empower their brand.
Sounds super interesting. You brought up a couple of example companies that could be benefiting from this. What would be a typical client using Photofy?
Well, I'll give you an example. Our largest client right now is Remax, which is one of the largest real estate realtors, brokers in the world. They have tens of thousands of employees on our platform. And what it does is, here is a kind of business that is encouraging their realtors to be creating content. I mean, anybody that looks into real estate at all knows that the key to it right now in a big way is social media, because that's the best way to engage with a multitude of people on a regular basis in a daily way without really interrupting their lives. So they've been very actively engaged with us. They approached us a little over a year ago after we had spoken to them for a while. And we've got a great partnership with them, and we consider it a partnership. We're in there learning with them, improving with them, working with them. Another great space for us, and what we consider the heart of our business, is direct selling companies. Now, real estate is a lot like direct selling, because a realtor basically has their own business. It's the way they look at it. It's their business. And they're being encouraged already to create content, unlike the employees in other types of companies like franchises or retailers or restaurant chains. So the jump to having them create content is a lot easier, especially in the mindset of the companies. But direct selling, especially the Norwexes of the world, the Rodan and Fields, the Mary Kays, there's a whole number of other of them. These companies encourage their employees already to make content, but a lot of times that content isn't really up to spec. It isn't where they'd like it to be. They can't necessarily track it and watch it. Very often they're creating it for their direct sellers. Therefore, it doesn't have that personalized creation feeling, and that it doesn't create the kind of engagement that content that's created by the person who is facing the employee, who is facing the customer directly, is creating. So they've been a great area for us. We work with Arbonne, we work with Norwex. We love these companies. We also think that the fitness business is a great area for this. They're constantly out there seeking new people to sign up. Whether it's a company that has internal people that are doing it, or a lot of these franchises that are now doing it in a direct selling method, they're important. But truth be told, the real vision of this, created by John Andrews, my business partner, and myself and our other partner, Matt Carter, is we believe all retailers and franchises, all companies, should be empowering employees to create content. So when we talk about empowering employees, we're talking about your standard businesses where there are salespeople, people on the floor, people at the door, people, waitresses that are dealing with people. We believe that this is the true employee-created content. When we talk about real estate and the direct marketing space, is when we're referring to community-created content, because those people aren't technically employees, they're part of a community. And I like to say that a network gives you reach, but a community gives you power. Networks connect and communities care. And if you can inspire your community to be sharing content and bringing people in and letting them know that people around them are sharing this kind of content and believe in it and are out there talking about it, we believe you can really expand your business at an exponential rate.
This is like a super, super interesting concept, and I can see how sort of different verticals, one by one, will have to open up to this type of approach. Very interesting. Could you tell me what is at the moment sort of, a top client acquisition channel for you guys? Like, where do you and how? What is the journey looking like that a company is discovering Photofy and get started?
Well, I have to tell you that we don't operate like a lot of traditional startups in that sense. Or maybe we do in the earlier stage, but we're a little bit further along. We believe in personal relationships. We believe in employees and leaders of the company using the tool, creating content. Look, for years, I built my personal brand, as has my business partner, John Andrews. And we've always encouraged every employee we've ever had at Collective Bias, the company that we built and sold before this one that was also in the content marketing space. We've always encouraged employees to create their brand, to build out their social channels, to use the tools. Because if the people creating, selling, managing the tools aren't using them, to me, you're missing that element of true understanding of how the product works and how to best help the people that you're trying to sell, the people that you're matchmaking with. I like to say we need to move from a time of targeting to matchmaking. Targeting is aiming a gun, pointing, and winning. Matchmaking is bringing together two people that benefit in the long run. And I believe it also creates long-term relationships. So what we've done with Photofy, which we did with Collective Bias, and I did at Elf Cosmetics even, which was a cosmetics company, is we promote the company ourselves. We use the tools. We share the name. I don't directly sell. I never get on a stage and say, use Photofy. But what I do is I incorporate Photofy into my presentation. I incorporate Photofy into my slides. If you follow me on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter, you'll see that a very large percentage of my posts, video and photo, use the tool. And then to me, what that does is that creates a groundswell of interest in what is Ted doing? What are you using? John, what it says Photofy, or, oh, those words you added, or that GIF you added, was that Photofy? Yeah, that's one of our new products. To us, that creates conversation. Now, I'm not going to tell you that works for everybody. There are companies that need to have hundreds of and thousands of leads created every month for a multitude of salespeople to follow up on. And it's as simple as getting people to your website to click a button and sign up. Our product is a very different sale. People have to understand it. John and I have kind of based our careers on creating a new market. Getting people interested in something that they weren't doing before. Employee created content is a new space. Therefore, it needs a lot more hand-holding. It's a lot more of a consultative sale. And even beyond that, it's beyond a consultative sale. A lot of times people don't even know they're looking for it. You need to introduce them. So what we do at Photofy, and what I've done in a number of other companies, and I consult and help other companies do this, is create your brand. Bring your employees in, use your tools, get on stages to speak about other topics, but feed in what you're doing, and you'll be really surprised at how many people ask about it. When somebody asks you for information that you have not tried to sell them, it's a very different thing. I like to say that I prefer to get bought than to sell myself. I want people buying me, because when you're selling, I find that, and I was in sales for years. I got all my start in all these areas as a salesperson. I was very successful at it, but I was always over-promising, like most salespeople. Oh yeah, we can do that. Oh, of course we can fill that in. Then of course you speak to your tech guy and he's like, dude, like, time to do that. We can't do that for that price. Or you promise them that you'll have it down the road if they just start up now. Whereas when people buy you, they want what you have. So that's what we try to create at Photofy.
Very good. What role does the website play at the moment for your client acquisition?
Well, the website is a place to send people, like it always is. I'm a big believer in having something that you own versus just your platforms on social media where it's owned by Facebook or owned by Instagram or any other companies. It's kind of like a home base. It's a place where we bring things together. Just like tedrubin.com is the pinning, is the base for everything I do, for my books, for my social media. Everything comes back to tedrubin.com because I own that. So more or less, I would say Photofy is like that. Remember, our product is an app. It is mobile only. It is not PC based or laptop based. So for us, it's kind of a mere advertisement. It's not a place that we work very hard to drive people, but it's a place, it is important for us that it represents what we're doing, because number one is we know people go looking for it, and number two, it's a place for us to send people.
Gotcha. Very good. Interesting. What I saw on the website is actually that you have that people can request a demo, but you're also linking to the app. Like, how are these different user journeys relating to each other, and how do you look at that?
Well, again, what I want to be clear about is that our marketing and sales is much more hands-on than at a larger enterprise or someone selling a product that's as simple as a sign up. So we don't have your traditional marketing funnels, so to speak. It's not something that would benefit us. So I wouldn't really call it the customer, like, of course there is a customer journey, but the customer journey is different for everybody we deal with. I mean, again, we're introducing a new product, and we are not at the point of our development where we say, this is what we got, take it or leave it. That's it. You don't like it. We have to work with people. We're learning. We're seeing what segments and what verticals need a little bit different development. Our CTO is very hands-on. He gets involved in RFPs and our sales calls because he wants to hear what people need and what they want and be attached to them. So, again, customer journey is really something that we create individually when we speak to people. Now, there was a point when this was mostly a consumer app where the customer journey was driving people into the app, getting them to sign up. It was much more of a funnel related tool. But right now we have 12 million downloads. We have over 500,000 active users. We have 20,000 reviews. in the App Store and a 4.8 rating. So that's just not something we pursue right now. I won't say that it's never going to happen again in the future, but unless when we get off this call, Lucas, you give me a call and say, I can tell you how to beautifully monetize that tomorrow, we're probably sticking with enterprise.
Makes a lot of sense. Okay, coming back to the product, for everybody listening in, what would you say is sort of the main competitive advantage of Photofy?
Easily branded content in under 30 seconds. We talk about adding time back into our users' days. So again, our strongest suit right now are direct sellers and realtors. Most of these people have multiple jobs. And when I say multiple jobs, I don't necessarily mean it in the sense of the way we think of a job. They're moms, they're dads, they have their kids, they coach on a team. A lot of them also have multiple jobs. A lot of direct sellers and realtors do other things. So their time is short. And a lot of them do not create any kind of original content because they don't have time to do it. So the real benefit of our product is we're going to add time back into your day. We're going to take that time when you're standing online at Starbucks, or you're waiting in your car to pick up your kid at school. And, you know, I think all of us are parents who have gone to school to pick up our kids. We know those long lines of cars, even more so now with COVID, because, you know, people are keeping their distance. They're not crowding around in places. A lot of schools have kids coming out one or two at a time. So we're adding time back into your day and allowing you to enhance your personal branding and your business.
Awesome. I would love to switch gears a little bit and learn about you as a leader a little bit more. What type of content do you consume, and how do you educate yourself?
You know, I'm glad you asked that, because things have really changed. Content is what we want when we want it. So it's not just about what's being served to us. It's about what are we looking for? What are we finding? So look, I am an active learner. And I will tell you that I've always been that, but it has really escalated for a number of reasons in the last few years. Truth be told, a big part of it has been COVID, because I'm not traveling anymore. I used to travel every week. I've been home since May 15th, more or less. So I'm sorry, since March 15th. So I have more time on my hands. I have more capability to read, to listen to audiobooks. And then other reasons are I'm very concerned about our world. I'm concerned about the politics. I'm concerned about racism. Black Lives Matter has become very important to me. I'm desperately trying to learn. So now, on top of the learning I was always doing in the marketing space, I've added on a very important, distinct layer of educating myself about history, about politics, about racism, about white supremacy. And you might say, well, what does that have to do with marketing? I think it has a lot to do with it, because the more you educate yourself and learn, the more your mind opens up. You know, our minds are like our bodies. And they're like, I like to say that relationships are like muscle tissue. The more you engage them, the stronger and more valuable they become. Well, our minds are the same way, just like our bodies are. We get stronger the more we work out. And the more we exercise our brain, the more capabilities we have. So it's added, a lot of this is also added perspective on how people think, what they do, on reading new authors, on finding new content. And because I've been so aggressive in it, whereas in marketing, very often I'd be a little lax. You know, we all get kind of honed into our own perspective. I would read the same marketers who I read before. I would listen to my own voice a lot because I think I'm really smart, and I'm not nearly as smart as I think I am. I'm very fortunate to have a business partner who calls me out as I do him, and we work and bounce ideas off each other very well. But I think learning and educating, it's something that I will never let go of now. I mean, I multitask a lot. When I don't work out without listening to an audiobook. I don't ride my bike, ride my kayak. I try to take that content in. And the more I expand it, the more I try to learn about everything, including marketing, including the way people think, including psychology.
Okay, super interesting. So since we're coming slowly to an end of the interview, I would love to jump into our rapid fire questions. It's a couple of short questions and quick answers. You ready for those?
I guess I better be.
Very good. So what's the last book you read?
The last book I finished, or the last book that I'm reading? I'm reading Reagan. I'm in the middle of Reaganland right now because I'm trying to learn about, I'm going through a series of books now about conservatism in the United States. I'm a liberal, but I want to understand the conservative mindset better. And I want to understand how we got to where we are today. So that's one. I just finished the book 1945 about the construction of the atomic bomb. and the ending of World War II. And I've been reading a lot of books again I'm reading How Not to Be a Racist. I'm reading I Can't Breathe. I've been reading a lot of books in that respect. So I've kind of steered away from some of the novels and things I was reading. I kind of need to find one soon because I want to have a little fun or read about some, secret agent or something that just gets my mind off. But mostly it's been that kind of content. I've also been, and I forgot, let me see, I have it right here. I just read a book called Social Physics, which is, the author is Alex Pentland, and it's a lot about how we share information and how we convince people to our side of thinking.
Interesting. What's one single thing your company is focused on the most at the moment?
New enterprise clients. It is our total focus. I know this is rapid fire, but I'm going to wrap something around that. Very often when you're a business, especially a startup, you have your wish list of who you like, oh my God, we really want to get this. We desperately want a franchise company. We desperately want a retailer, but we've realized that the heart of our business is in direct selling and real estate. So we are trying very hard to stay focused there, but at the same time, plant the seeds elsewhere so that at some point we will break into that space.
Very cool. If there would be no boundaries in technology, what would be one thing you want to have fixed for your company today?
I'd love when a customer or client tells us an upgrade that they'd like, that we could snap our fingers and we've got it when we believe it's something valuable too.
Very good. What's the last thing that kept you awake at night about the company?
Oh boy. Fortunately at the moment, or unfortunately, that's not what's keeping me awake at night. It's more about politics. But what kept us awake most recently was when COVID first hit. How are we going to convert? How are we going to move forward and make sure that our business continued? And I really want to throw kudos at our CEO, John Andrews, and our COO and President, Matt Carter, for working really hard to make that happen and keeping the team together and actually bringing us to a better place than we were when all this started.
Okay, perfect. Very last question. If today would be your very, very first day working on Photofy, what would be one advice that you would give yourself?
Oh, focus on the enterprise space and don't worry about the consumer space.
Very good. Ted, I really appreciate that you took the time with us today and were a guest in this Pathmark Presents episode. I want to give you the last word. If somebody forgets everything about the interview today, what would be one thing that they should remember about Photofy?
Easily branded content in under 30 seconds. Simplicity is the key. My business partner and I like to say that simplicity is the new EDLP. EDLP, if you're not in retail, is everyday low pricing. It was made famous by Walmart. But we believe if you make it easy, your customers will come back again and again and again.
Awesome. Thanks a lot for being part of the show.
My pleasure.